Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? Turn this down a little bit. What's going on, y'all? I hope all is well today. Make sure I got my stuff up. Okay. Give everybody a little bit of time to come in. All right, here we go. I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready. How's everybody doing? Today, what are we talking about today? We are talking about building self-confidence. That was the winner on the poll from over the weekend. If you guys don't see the polls, make sure to check the community section on the page, because I do post polls on what we are talking about. So that way you get a chance to pick and what we're going to conversate on. So building self-confidence was like at 60%. So that's what we're going with tonight. I have 7 affirmations and then a few speaking points before we start. Hey, Hiru, welcome back. Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in every week. I really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in every week. But yeah, building self-confidence. It's a big subject. It's a big subject for me personally because it's something that I've struggled with throughout my life. So I'm going to share some things that have worked for me. I'm still a work in progress, y'all. Like, it took me forever to even jump on like lives. Like, it took me so long. When I say months, it took me months to get the confidence to even like jump on these lives and have conversations with y'all. So by all means, I'm not telling this just to y'all. I'm speaking to myself. Okay. So definitely take down notes if you want to. Like I said, I have 7 affirmations, but I'll go through a few tips beforehand. If you don't know me, my name is Debbie. I am a certified meditation coach. This channels all things self-help, self-motivation, meditation, mindfulness, all of the above. So thank you so much for tuning in. 4 or 5 points on self-confidence, and then we'll have 7 affirmations. This is a very interactive live, y'all. So please talk back to me. If you have questions, definitely put them in the chat. If you want to type out the affirmations and put them in the chat, definitely go ahead and do so. Let me know where you're watching from, all of that. If you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. And we'll go ahead and dive in. So a few things about building self-confidence I want us to take heed on, to chew on, to really think about, to really digest. Number 1 is confidence is a skill that can be developed over time. Some people have natural confidence, and that's great. But at the end of the day, building confidence is something that you can learn. It's something that is actually a skill that can be exercised and developed and get better over time. I think sometimes we lack self-confidence because we feel like it doesn't come naturally to us. So because it doesn't come naturally to us, we just live a life of self-doubt, right? So that's point number 1. Confidence is a skill. It can be exercised, it can be built, it can get better, and it takes time. It's a process. So that's point number 1 I want us to remember. The other thing that I want us to think about is that a healthy sense of self-confidence doesn't equate to the absence of fear or the absence of doubt. Just because someone has a healthy sense of confidence in themselves doesn't mean that they don't encounter like doubt of themselves, doesn't mean that they don't encounter fear, frustration, confusion, indecisiveness. It doesn't mean that they don't encounter any of that. So just because you have fear and doubt and all of that doesn't mean that confidence can't be there also. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, when it comes to building self-confidence, I do feel like building a sense of community and having support is very important in that. But I think we lack self-confidence sometimes because we rely too heavily on it, right? So if we rely super heavy on the motivations from the people around us, from people around us helping us, from people around us motivating us, if we rely heavily on that and we don't get that, that's when self-confidence starts to kind of go down, because it's like, okay, what's wrong with me? What's happening? Why is this not happening for me now? They supported me last month and now all of a sudden they're quiet. Just kind of processing those thoughts can help actually diminish our confidence within ourselves. So yes, it's important to seek out support, to have a sense of community, to have your people, to have your circle. But at the end of the day, relying too heavily on that can actually decrease your confidence within yourself. This is so encouraging. I'm glad that it is. Welcome in, Banana Peel Emery. Thank you so much for coming in. So that's seeking support is important, but don't heavily rely on it. That support should be the icing on the cake. It shouldn't necessarily be the batter, right? The batter of the cake should be your own confidence, your own motivation, the pieces that are within yourself that you pull on to push yourself forward. That's your perseverance, your resilience. That's all of those things, your intuition, all of that is that cake batter, right? That support that you receive outside of yourself is just the icing. So keep that in mind. Third point, take an interest in your physical health, right? Like a lot of times we lack self-confidence because we just feel yucky. We eat horribly. We aren't working out. We're not taking any interest in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis to feed our bodies healthy foods, making sure we're taking our vitamins, making sure we're hydrated. Like if we're not really focused on those things, when you physically feel yucky, you mentally feel yucky. Same with like your home. Like I'm a messy person. A lot of people that are like, no, I'm not super messy, but a lot of people that have like creative minds, sometimes especially if you like ADD, ADHD, I'm borderline. I'm pretty sure I have a little bit of adult ADHD. So sometimes I'll start something and then I move and then I start something else. And then you'll see the trail throughout the house of where I was at. So just keeping in mind, not just your physical health, but your physical space, your environment. If your environment is cluttered, then your mind is cluttered. If your environment and your room is messy, then your mind and your spirit and your soul can also be messy. Your environment reflects what you have up here. So I feel like a lot of times I get motivated when I clean up. When I simply just start cleaning, I get motivated to actually do other things. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind your physical health. Keep in mind your environment and how you're keeping it, because that actually says a lot to your mental health. So keep that in mind. And last point before we go into the affirmations is move in faith, right? When it comes to building self-confidence, sometimes you have to look past what you see and take on the thoughts of your purpose and your goals and your visions and visualize those things and show up in those rooms that you go into every day as if it's already done, as if you already received it, as if it's already there, as if this confidence is already exuding from your pores. You know what I mean? Show up the way that you want to be seen. Show up the way that you want to be. And then eventually the rest of everything else will follow. So those were just a few points that I had. I'm going to go ahead and dive into the affirmations. Like I said, I have 7 affirmations today. Feel free to use the affirmations however you wish to. Write them down in your journals if you want to put them on sticky notes and post them all around the house or in your bathroom. If you want to make sure you recite them in the mornings, if you want to record yourself reciting them and listening back to them, however you want to use them, feel free to use them that way. If you need to change the language and if it doesn't make sense for you, change the language. If there's only a few that make the most sense for you and the others don't, that's okay. Feel free to, use what makes the most sense. If you haven't already, make sure to like the live, make sure to subscribe, and I'll dive into the first affirmation. Here we go. Self-confidence, affirmation number 1. I am aware of my strengths and embrace my unique qualities. I am aware of my strengths and embrace my unique qualities. I'll say that one more time. I am aware of my strengths and embrace my unique qualities. So when it comes to building self-confidence, the first thing that you want to think about is just having self-awareness. Being aware of your lack of confidence, being aware of the areas that you lack confidence, because a lot of times we may feel like, oh, I lack confidence or I'm not a confident person. And really it's just because you lack confidence in a particular area. So really take the time to explore and be curious about where you're confident, where you're not confident, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, understanding a bit more about imposter syndrome and if that shows up for you in any space or in capacity, whether it be in your career or in dating life or with your friends or any of that. Even when it comes to relationships, thinking about how you show up in the relationships that you have, and if you show up in those relationships with confidence, or if you show up in those relationships with attachment styles, or with just different showing up in ways to where your trauma is forward versus your confidence. So being super duper aware of your confidence and the lack thereof, and understanding your value, taking the time to really explore your strengths, and journaling this is something that you would journal. This is something that you would work with a therapist on. This is something that you would really take your time and think through. It's not a one night type of journal situation. This is something that you want to consistently evaluate. But if this is something you're like, okay, Debbie, where do I start in building my self-confidence? This is where you would start. Become aware, understand yourself, know yourself, understanding your emotions and how they impact your confidence, and even going as far as journaling your day, as far as what parts of the day do you lack confidence. So it's okay, I get up in the morning and I'm good, I go to work, but by the time I get into midday, or by the time I get to this meeting, or by the time this person walks in the room, my self-confidence goes. So just really think about it in detail and be super aware and present and really understand it. So I am aware of my strengths and embrace my unique qualities, and just embracing and understanding what your confidence looks like on a day-to-day basis. That's number 1. Number 2, I speak to myself with love, respect, and confidence. I speak to myself with love, respect, and confidence. I'll say that one more time. I speak to myself with love, respect, and confidence. How we speak to ourselves matters, right? Practicing self-compassion matters. Giving ourselves grace matters. And when we're not intentional about how we speak to ourselves, how compassionate we are to ourselves, and how much grace we give ourselves, that's when our lack of self-confidence starts to just continue to get worse and worse, right? So be very mindful how you speak to yourself. Speak to yourself like someone you love, right? If the way that you speak to yourself isn't the way that you would speak to your mother or your best friend or your sister. Like, if you would never speak to someone that you love like that, why would you speak to yourself like that, right? Like, I'm a person that will beat myself down with negative self-talk. It's something that is intentional. You have to like catch it in the moment. Sometimes even if you say things out loud to yourself, like as soon as you hear it, you're like, nope, that's not what it is. And speak life to yourself. You have to be very intentional about it. And you have that power to change how you think about yourself, and you have that power to change how you speak to yourself. So take back that power. Understand that how you speak to yourself is how your confidence will come across. If you're constantly talking down to yourself, if you're constantly beating yourself up, if you're constantly just going in on yourself day in and day out, no wonder your confidence is down here, right? So lift your chin up, you know what I'm saying? Lift your chin up, speak to yourself like someone you love, and be very intentional about it. So that was number 2. I speak to myself with love, respect, and confidence. Number 3, my journey is valuable, and comparing. Oh, this went and okay, there we go. My journey is valuable, and comparing it to others does not serve me. My journey is valuable, and comparing it to others does not serve me. One more time. My journey is valuable, and comparing it to others does not serve me. Your journey is unique. Your journey is valuable. Your journey and your purpose is specific to you. So your life and how you progress through life is going to look totally different from the next person. So a lot of times our self-confidence isn't there because we are consistently thinking about where other people are in their particular life. I should be further. If they made it and I'm 32 and they are married with children, then I should be married with children too. If I'm, 25 and they are at this point in their career, I should be at that point in my career too. If I'm 29 and they bought a house and I should have a house too. So we're always looking at, what's happening over the fence versus us focusing on our own personal journey and focusing on our own goals and aspirations and all of those things. And because of the fact that we're focusing so much on everybody else, it's a distraction from what we should be focusing on, which is our own personal journeys. So shifting your mindset to your journey, to your goals, to your attributes, to focusing on you outdoing you versus you outdoing others. By changing and shifting that mindset, self-confidence will grow because you can outdo yourself. You can get better. You can grow. You can progress. You can be a better version of yourself. That's something that you personally have control over. And so the more that you outdo yourself, the more that you'll build confidence within yourself. But as soon as you start looking over across the fence and be like, ooh, they got that, I want that, or ooh, they going there, I want to go there, or ooh, they have that career, they got that job, they're making that type of money, that ain't none of your business, okay? Your business is you. And the more that you focus on you and your progress, your growth, your goals, your aspirations, what your purpose is, the more that you hone in on that, the more that you'll be able to build your own self-confidence. And I'm saying that as somebody, I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to me too, y'all. I'm not yelling at y'all. I'm yelling at myself, okay? So keep that in mind. Your journey is valuable. Your journey is important. Your purpose is important. And the more that you focus on that versus comparing yourself to other people, that will change your whole outlook on how you look at yourself, right? I don't even think I went through my points on this. What was my points? Because I went on a tangent. Stop comparing yourself to others because, yes, stop comparing yourself to others because what you see when you're looking at other people is never the full story, right? Just because you're looking at, other people and what they got going on, and that's something that you aspire to be, that's great, but it's never the full story. So sometimes we're aspiring and comparing ourselves to a half of a story or a part of a story, and that half or part of that story is unrealistic because it's not the holistic view of what actually that person is doing or going through, or what their journey actually looks like. And so because we're comparing ourselves to that unrealistic perception of what they're doing, then we have these unrealistic things in our minds of where we should be and what we should be doing. And we're striving for perfection versus striving for our own personal growth. So understand that when you're looking at other people and you're seeing their lives, you're never seeing the full story. You're never seeing what they do at night. You're never seeing, what pain they actually have. You're never seeing any guilt or shame or trauma or whatever that they had to go through to get to where they are. They may not even be there, y'all. They may be out here just, doing it for the gram or for TikTok or whatever. It may not even be real. So we can't compare ourselves to other people because we never will know the full entire story of what they needed to do to get there, or if they're even there in the first place. So keep that in mind. I hope this is helpful so far. Please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Definitely 100% talk back to me, even if this is just helpful. That was what number were we on, y'all? I think that was number 3. Yeah, that was number 3. So number 4, I am patient with myself and adapt easily to new learning opportunities. I am patient with myself and adapt easily to new learning opportunities. I'll say that one more time. I am patient with myself and adapt easily to new learning opportunities. So sometimes we lack confidence because we lack knowledge. That's plain and simple. And once we start taking on opportunities to learn, to gain wisdom, to gain perspective, to learn a new skill, to perfect a certain aspect of something that we even call ourselves an expert in. Because a lot of times we may have things that we are really, really good at, and we just do that good thing, but we never work to even advance it even more, or to push ourselves even a little bit more, even though it's something that you are a SME in, or a subject matter expert or whatever. Taking the time to be forever learning is a way to build self-confidence. Even for me, it's just like, if I learn a new word, or if, at a certain point, I got to get back on it, but I was teaching myself French, or, just stuff that you always wanted to do, even if it's just something really simple. But taking the time to think about the areas of your life that you lack confidence, and seeing where you can get more knowledge, is a way to build self-confidence. One thing that I lacked confidence in was finances, like learning about investments and learning about different ways of saving. Like, it was something that always intimidated me. And so it wasn't until I actually took the time to sit and watch some videos, read some books, listen to some Audible books, listen to some podcasts about investing, to start educating myself a little bit more. And the more that you educate yourself, the more confidence you'll have in that particular area. So this is for those who may have confidence in a general natural sense, but lack confidence in certain areas. Like, a lot of times it's just because you don't have the knowledge. And once you start educating yourself, once you start learning more, once you start practicing a little bit more, it will make it easier for you to have confidence, because now you know more. And a lot of times it's just our ignorance in certain areas is what creates the lack of confidence. So I am patient with myself and adapt easily to new learning opportunities. Let me make sure I have not missed anything. Lack of knowledge, be intentional with skill development. I talked about that. Be intentional about planning and goal setting, and strive for growth rather than perfection. Yeah, so like just making sure that if we shift our mindset from I just need to be perfect to I need to grow, that's the difference. That's all the difference. Because if you need to grow is your focus versus I need to be perfect, you'll grow, right? You'll do what you need to do to grow. You'll do what you need to get better. But you'll never be perfect. None of us will never be perfect. That is just an unrealistic goal to be perfect in a particular area. So a lot of times we lack confidence because we're seeking out perfection rather than seeking out growth. So just shift your mindset to how am I going to grow this year? How am I going to get better in these particular areas this year? What can I do? What goals can I set to make sure that I grow in this particular area? Growth is an attainable goal. That is something that you can actually do and you actually have control over, right? You don't have control over how perfect you are, and that will never happen. So that's one big huge thing that I want to get across, that we have to, a lot of times we lack self-confidence because we just trying to be perfect and we're not, and it will never happen, and that's okay. Show yourself compassion, so show yourself grace when you mess up, when you make mistakes, and take those mistakes as learning opportunities as well. You know, sometimes we learn the most from our failures. And when we learn from those failures, what does that mean? We have grown, right? So strive for growth, and that will make all the difference. Number 5, I step out of my comfort zone with confidence and determination. I step outside my comfort zone with confidence and determination. I'll say that one more time. I step out of my comfort zone with confidence and determination. So doing things that make you uncomfortable brings what? Say it with me, class. Growth, right? Doing things that make you uncomfortable, whether they're big or small, will bring growth. And when you have growth, that builds your confidence. Growth equals confidence. If there's no growth, then you will not have no confidence. If you are sitting stagnant and you feel like you're plateaued, you're burnt out, you feel like you're not progressing, that you feel like you're not reaching anything, that's when your self-confidence starts to go down. So growth, if you don't take anything away from this live, growth equals confidence. When you're not growing, you're not going to be confident. Okay. What was that? I step outside of my comfort zone with confidence and determination. Doing things that make you uncomfortable, explore and shift your attachment to being embarrassed, right? A lot of times we lack confidence because we have this healthy relationship with the emotion of embarrassment. If I do this, this will make me embarrassed. This will be cringy. I'll be super embarrassed if I do this. Or even just secondhand embarrassment sometimes stops us from doing things that are outside of our comfort zone. So detach from that feeling and emotion of embarrassment. Get used to feeling that, right? And not being being afraid. Sometimes we're afraid of embarrassment. Hiru says, we are God's and God dwells within us. As such, the perfection is within us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Timothy, I am a music YouTuber with less subscribers. Yes, absolutely. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep going. And as someone that is, YouTubing, it's not easy. It's not easy, but keep going because you'll get there. As long as you are consistent and you don't let up and you make content that you would actually personally want to see. A lot of times that's one of the tricks, is making content that you want to see. Because most likely there's someone out there that wants to also see it. So absolutely, just keep going. Awesome. So what was that? That was number 5. I step outside my comfort zone with confidence and determination, doing things that make me uncomfortable, and explore and shift my attachment style from being embarrassed. That's a big thing, y'all. A lot of times we don't want to be embarrassed, or we don't want to feel embarrassed, so we don't step out of our comfort zone. Therefore, there's no growth. Therefore, we plateau. Therefore, we lack confidence. So it just kind of just spirals backwards at that point. So the more that you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, not saying you got to put yourself in dangerous situations, more so of just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Uncomfortable situation example would be talking to people you don't know, going to a networking event by yourself. That may be an uncomfortable situation, but you're trying to build your career in a particular industry. So in order for you to build your career in that industry, you have to network, right? So putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation would be to go to a networking event by yourself with your business cards and just start talking to people, right? That's something that's going to, the more that you do it, the more comfortable you'll be. And then it won't be that big of a deal the next time. And then the next time it won't be that big of a deal. And then the next time it will be actually easy for you. And what did you do? One, you grew, right? And two, you built confidence, right? And the more that you consistently do that, the more that you're intentional about stepping outside of your comfort zone, the more that you'll grow, which the more that you will build confidence in yourself. So keep that in mind. Growth equals confidence. We got two more. Number 6 was, how others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. How others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. I'll say that one more time. How others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. Sometimes we lack confidence because we take how people treat us as the Bible, right? We take how people treat us as an example of how we should treat ourselves. And when people don't treat us well, we end up taking that and internalizing it to the point where, oh, if they're treating me this way, then this must be me. If they're treating me this way, then yeah, maybe I am incompetent. Maybe I am not smart. Maybe I am not supposed to be here. Maybe I am not supposed to be doing this particular job or this particular career, or maybe I shouldn't pursue this relationship, or maybe I shouldn't be in this friend group or whatever. So just because someone treats us a certain way, and I'm preaching to myself, okay? Just because someone treats us a certain way, that doesn't reflect who we are, our identity, or it's not something that we're supposed to take in and internalize, right? So we have to get like superheroes and let some of that treatment just bounce off of us versus us taking it in and absorbing it into our nervous system and our hearts and our minds and our spirits, because that's how we end up breaking down our confidence. The more that we have people in our lives that treated us just horribly, especially if you had a childhood that wasn't the best, if you had parents or siblings or family members that talked down to you for long extended periods of time, we don't know as children how to digest those things, right? We don't understand that just because this person is treating me this way, that doesn't necessarily mean that's who I am. So if you have experienced that as a child or as a young adult even, because the frontal lobes of the brains are not even fully developed until you hit a certain age. So once you start taking that in over and over and over again, that may be where your lack of self-confidence stems from. So you may have to circle back to those things, whether it be through therapy or through journaling or just through your own personal work and personal development. But understanding that just because someone treats me this way doesn't mean that this is who I am, and it's not a reflection of me. And I think a lot of times we take on our emotions about certain situations, especially when it comes to how people treat us. We take on those emotions as identity. And instead of us saying, I'm experiencing sadness because of how this person treated me, or I'm experiencing anger because of how this person treated me. We just continuously say in our minds, I am angry, I am sad, I am depressed, I am frustrated, I am confused. And when we say I am, that is identifying ourselves with that particular emotion. So understanding that just because someone treated you that way and they made you feel a certain way doesn't mean that that's who you are. That doesn't mean that's your identity. And once you're able to separate the emotions that you feel and your identity and how you are actually how you actually perceive yourself, that will make all the difference as far as like your confidence, because it will be easier for you to remove yourself and compartmentalize whatever's happening versus you as a person. Okay, so understand this. The affirmation was, how others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. Is important, because if you really are dealing with that in particular of this person treated me this way, this has to be who I am, not the case. And a lot of times people are reflecting or deflecting themselves onto other people. They're basically treating others how they think of themselves. So taking that on as your own personal identity is only damaging to you. So that was number 6. How others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. And lastly, number 7, I cultivate self-respect by faithfully honoring the promises I make to myself. I cultivate self-respect by faithfully honoring the promises I make to myself. One last time. I cultivate self-respect by faithfully honoring the promises I make to myself. Keep your commitments to you, right? And be present with those commitments, okay? If you promise yourself that you was going to get up and do your workout tomorrow, get up and do your workout tomorrow, right? Because if you promise your boss that you was going to be up at work at 7:30 in the morning, you going to get up, you going to get on the road, and you going to be there at 7:30 in the morning. So how are you making promises to your boss and meeting those requirements, but you can't keep your promises to yourself? Right? And I say that as I'm talking to myself, y'all, because I've been trying to get to the gym since 92. Okay? I'm being extra, but you know what I mean. Okay? You have to keep your promises. And the more that you keep your promises and you're present with those promises and commitments that you made to yourself, the more that you will build confidence. Because if you making a commitment to yourself that you're going to do something, what does that breed? That breeds growth, right? So we're back to growth. And when that breeds growth, growth breeds confidence. So if you're making your commitments to yourself and then you're not meeting those commitments, what does that say to yourself? That tells me that I'm not important. That tells me that I come last. That tells me that my growth is not, I'm not capable of that growth, or I'm not capable of that achievement. So then what does that tell you? I lack confidence, and my confidence is gone. So meet your commitments. When you make a commitment to yourself, meet that commitment. If you say you're not going to eat no more donuts till the end of the week, don't eat no more donuts. Okay, you committed to yourself. And I'm saying that as someone that committed to not eating no more donuts until the end of the week. I told myself one baked good a week because I have goals. Okay, so understand that you have to, when you make those commitments, stick to them. Because if you made that same commitment to someone else, you would be more prone to stick to it because somebody's counting on you, right? Somebody's expecting you. Somebody's counting on you to show up. So you have to internalize that. You count on you to show up. You count on you to grow. You count on you on your commitments. You have to show up tomorrow for whatever you're telling yourself that you have to show up for, because guess what? You are waiting on you. And a lot of times we are not able to progress because we're holding ourselves back. So if you're making a commitment to yourself this week, do it. And don't let up to it. You got an appointment. You got stuff that you got to do for you, right? So keep all of that in mind. That was number 7. I cultivate self-respect by faithfully honoring the promises I make to myself. I hope this was helpful, y'all. I love that this was the topic that you guys picked. Thank you all for everyone that was in the polls that voted for this one. This was out of the water. It was at 60%, I think, when I looked at the poll as far as like how many people wanted to talk about this. So I'm glad that this is what we discussed. I'll go back to the top just in case anybody missed any of the other affirmations. Again, it was 7. Number 1 was I am aware of my strengths and embrace my unique qualities. Number 2, I speak to myself with love, respect, and confidence. Number 3, my journey is valuable and comparing it to others does not serve me. Number 4, I am patient with myself and adapt easily to new learning opportunities. Number 5, I step out of my comfort zone with confidence and determination. Number 6, how others treat me is a reflection of themselves, not my personal identity. And number 7, I cultivate self-respect by faithfully honoring the promises I make to myself. Again, I hope these were helpful. This live is every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I always will post a poll on Saturday for what y'all want to talk about. And then I will, whatever is at the top of the poll, I will talk about that on that Monday. You will also have a meditation on self-confidence that will be posted on Saturday as well. Did I miss anything? Last week we talked about anger management. I did post the anger management meditation, so definitely check that out. I posted it late. I'm sorry, but it's there. It was posted there on Sunday, so make sure to check out the anger management meditation. And yeah, I am super duper excited for next week. If there are any topics that y'all want to talk about that you want me to put in the poll, please put in the comments in this video. This live will be saved. Please put in the comments in this video and I'll make sure to add those to the poll so we can vote on them on Saturday. Anything else? That is it. Thank you all. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Please like the video. I'm building my channel, y'all, even as I'm in graduate school. Graduate school is killing me, y'all. But we getting there. We getting there. I will be a therapist soon. Even with the meditation certification, I will be a therapist soon. Hopefully, prayerfully, please pray for me as I'm taking these tests and I'm doing these papers. If anybody's in school, please give me some tips in the comments because it's driving me insane. But thank you all. Love you all. God bless. I will see you next week. Bye.